What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. As always, it's your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm fired up.
Motivation Monday, kicking it off strong, and there's no better way to get this going than with some killer quotes. And you know us. You know we love our quotes. We love our little mantras, things that fire us up, our quick tips. So if you want more of that, obviously the new hot thing right now is Instagram Threads. So if you're following us on Instagram, maybe you already are following us on Threads. But if you're not, we highly recommend you check that out. Fun backstory, Kyle's foray into the fitness world, actually in terms of expressing himself on social, I guess, was with Twitter. So he had a Twitter, it was called Workout Grind.
Yeah.
Workout Grind, and everyone knew him as that. When you'd see Kyle, you go, yo, Workout Grind, or put me on the Twitter, and he did well with it. He had a good little following, and that was actually our root. So we really kind of missed that. And then we actually have a Twitter for Colossus Fitness. We're not as active there as we are, but we had a pretty good following on that as well. So we were sad to see that die. And now it's so cool that it's made its way back out with Threads, and we're able to give really good advice. Our big thing is going to be fitness advice and humor. We also want relatable, funny things. So we got a lot of really good content there. So if you're not following us on Threads, make sure you do. It's the same as our Instagram, at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. Make sure to hit us up there, because I promise you it won't disappoint. We've already shared some really fun stuff, and I know it'll be that extra little bonus if you like workout advice and if you like workout humor. So just there's so many funny things there. Don't miss out. But we're going to kick it off with our quotes. We're also going to share some of our favorite quotes on the thread. So this could be a good opportunity for us to use this new social to talk more about the podcast. So something I'm going to start doing with this episode, actually, we'll kick it off, is we will post a discussion thread for the episode. So it'll just say Motivation Monday number discussion thread, and you can comment anything you want down below, maybe something you loved, a question you had, something you wanted to add on. It'll be a really fun way for us to talk about the episode and for you to kind of comment on the episode. So I think this will be really, really fun. So follow us there. Go ahead, comment, check in. If you do this too, we'll do an extra little giveaway. We'll select one person who engages with that thread from today's episode to get a $50 Starbucks gift card. So let's sweeten the pot. Why not? Let's kick this off with some stories. So hit us up on Threads. Go to that discussion. Say something you like from this episode, or comment, or say hi, or anything, and you'll be entered to win that gift card. That'll be a lot of fun. But now we're going to jump into our quotes. So my quote for this week is, think big, dream big, but start small. And I love this quote because Kyle knows me. If you do know me, you know I'm someone who, I see something and I just see the start and the end. I don't really think about the middle. I just get to work, and I have these big aspirations and ideas, and it's amazing when it works, and it works often. But at the same time, sometimes I'll overlook those small components. And that's where Kyle's such a benefit to me. And they say 1 + 1 = 3. Kyle said that quote earlier. And it's a good point, because I'm really good at that. But then sometimes Kyle will say, but how are we going to do this? Or you spelt this word completely wrong. This doesn't even make sense. And sometimes, like with a fitness journey, it's so easy to be that kind of person where you say, I want to become a bodybuilder. And you're starting as someone who's never touched a weight. You've never had a chicken breast. You've never done anything. And you just go, I want to be a bodybuilder. And it'll be a big hindrance for you when you try and you don't get there immediately. So instead, think big, dream big, but ask yourself, what are the tiny, small steps I need to do to get me where I need to go so I can see that progress? And I just love this example, because the more you can break down that big goal into smaller goals, and that's something I've been working on and somewhere I've really been trying to improve, the more it makes it achievable. Even today in my journal, it had a thought cue. The journal has little thought cues, and they said, what are the things that you've done over the last 3 years? Have they got you to where you've wanted to get today? And I really thought, wow, the small habits and patterns and thoughts in my life that I've done over the last 3 years, I've seen them compound, I've seen them work, and I've seen the result come as a result of that. Even one of my clients, James, has been working with me for a long time, and he said he always wondered why he wasn't getting fit, why he wasn't getting his bodybuilding physique really showing that he lifted, and then being in the program, just letting that compound. He said it's amazing to see how now he's suddenly there. It seemed like he wasn't, and then boom, you kind of get that. But the truth is, it doesn't really happen overnight, even though it feels like it. It's just that result of that consistent, disciplined action and effort, and really trusting those processes. So once again, think big, dream big, but start small.
I really like that, because I can obviously relate that a ton to the fitness journey, and I'm sure a lot of you can as well. But it really got me thinking about social media, building a brand. I know, that's not what we're about here, but just and then that's not like what our main focus is on the podcast, but like anyone who's looking to build something, like it's just so important to just start with that small step. And I'll use an example. If we just started with everything from the very beginning, we just picked up a microphone and did podcasts, YouTube, Twitter, Threads, which wasn't here, but Instagram, Facebook, everything, it'd be very overwhelming. And I see some people start with that. And especially like nowadays, like I'll think of a few specific people right now, and they just start building everything, a couple different Instagrams, TikToks. 2 weeks later, I see nothing from them. And it's just the same within our fitness journey. It's the same with like every part of our life. Is like, I always think, what can I sustainably do right now? And it's what has helped us, and it's what leads to our success. And I just honestly, I think that's so relatable. It's just like, it's great to have those ambitions, but sit down, okay, what can I do right now sustainably? And so I just wanted to share that with you. But my quote this week is, too skinny, too fat, too muscular, too big, too small, you're always going to be too something to someone. Just be yourself. And we had shared this on Threads, and Josh showed it to me as one of our most famous quotes on Twitter. And obviously got the most likes on Threads because a lot of people can relate to it. But it's just such a good reminder to do what you want to do and to focus on yourself. Like, there will always be situations where people will recommend that you do something else. And, you know, no matter what, you train for a certain amount of time, and there'll be different viewpoints from others, and you can never please everyone. So like, ultimately, it's just focus on yourself, do what you need to do what makes you most happy, the healthiest version of yourself, and that's it. Like, just don't worry about anything else, and everything else will come together, and you'll ultimately be living your best life possible, and you'll be fulfilling like what it is that you want to do versus what other people think you should do or what they kind of give you as viewpoints. But that's my quote, and hopefully it helps you in some way or another.
Yeah, and I guess going into the thoughts, one of my thoughts and kind of a bonus quote I was excited to share, and I think this relates into it, is don't be bitter, be better. Just that attitude of like not taking that situation, being bitter about it and complaining, instead say, how can I make it work? How can I adjust? I don't know if you can see, but on YouTube, but my dog is on this bench with me. And the reason for that is I'm finishing my renovations that I spoke about earlier, kind of a crazy situation. Right now I have people installing some railings for me outside. So we're having to pause this podcast as my dog barks, as the welding's going off, as saws are going off. But it's so easy. And even for me, I thought, oh, this is going to be so inconvenient. It's going to be so hard. This is this and that, yada, yada. My dog's going to be so difficult. Kyle's dying because Bentley's up here. But at the end of the day, I realized I just need to find a way to get it done, not make excuses. And it's the same with the gym. Like, all the time, people will say, oh, I wasn't able to work out. I was on vacation. It's like, there's a hotel gym. And then people will say the hotel gym sucks, or it's super busy. We were at Aria, this amazing, amazing hotel in Vegas, and the gym's incredible, but it was a madhouse, and they were doing the NBA Summer League. So there's all these 7-foot giants in there doing crazy, insane workouts. But we made it work. We navigated around it, and we found a way to succeed. And even if it means you do your workouts a little bit different, you're supersetting, you're using what's available in terms of equipment, like, it's just about finding ways to get it done. So instead of being bitter and finding reasons not to do something or not have success, get it done. And I find when you can win in these difficult moments, it makes you really appreciate when things are just simple and status quo. When you're in your normal gym, you have your normal time, there's not craziness, but there always is craziness. And that's something we really like to say. And it's sad, I find a lot of people hold themselves back because they'll say, I'll start coaching in the future when I'm done school. I say this all the time, or when I don't have this crazy job, or when I find a new job, or when I have more money, or all these things. And these are just obstacles that are really holding us back, because there's always something, there's always some chaos. And like, in a way, you should look at that obstacle. And as I've said, the obstacle is the way. So how can you smash through that to still get where you want to be, still get done what you want to do, and still see that success? And a lot of the time, just identifying that, and as I said, don't be bitter about the situation, be better. It can be hard to hear, and it's probably sometimes the last thing you want to hear. If you say it to your friend in a bad moment, they might punch you in the face. But if you can say it to yourself and just have that honest reflection of it, it's amazing how powerful of an exercise this can be. And by doing this often and doing this frequently, you're going to excel in those situations where you normally really kind of hinder or damage yourself. And with that, that will really vault your progress forward, because a lot of people progress nicely and then an obstacle comes and they tank. And they progress that status quo and then they tank. So instead, if you can really identify that time and find a way to have a net neutral or to still make progress when things are difficult, you're going to be positive. And that's why you're still getting this podcast today, and we think it's a great one. So if you like it, please let us know in that threads. And once again, you will be entered for that $50 Starbucks gift card. But I know Kyle has some killer thoughts, so we'll pass it off to him.
Yeah, and even just relating to that, the other day I posted a photo of me with Nando's, the fully tracked meals, the calories, the macros, the distribution. And I was even saying, like, so many people break down in these tougher situations where it's like, oh, I'm not really sure what's going on here, so who cares? I'm going to go all out. And it's like, it's about being better. It's about like spending that little bit of time to just actually think and hold yourself accountable and be aware and all that other stuff, instead of just being like, whatever. Even going to Vegas, it was amazing to have a great time, but also just like still take care of ourselves, hit the gym early on, do 20 to 30K steps a day, drink tons of water, just every single day. Like, it is amazing. And it's awesome to look for those opportunities instead of those obstacles, like Josh was saying. But I just had a little bit of like a mini shout out. My client, Stephanie, like, she had sent me a text. I asked her how the weekend was. I knew she had family get together and everything like that. And, she's trying to stay away from sweets and all this other great stuff before she goes away. And anyway, so she had texted me saying, it went well. I prepped 2 huge veggie platters and everyone was impressed and enjoyed trying new things. I didn't overeat, ate a reasonable amount of cheese and cold cuts, and I was in charge of cutting the cake, so I cut thin slices, winky face. And I thought it was like funny because like it's so amazing how much of an inspiration you can have on others just by doing simple things. And even when I had said responded back, she said, if I can plant one seed, a tiny seed today, it might grow into something over time. And it just really got me thinking. I had to sit there for a second. I'm like, man, like that is such a good way to think about it, is like, if you are trying to inspire those around you and help your brother and your significant other and your mother, like whatever it is, you're not going to have that tree growing right away with them just being like, nope, I'm going to start eating healthy and hit the gym 5 times a week and drink water and all this other stuff. But planting that little seed, like that one time they might think, you know what, I haven't been getting veggies in my diet. So anyways, I thought that was cool. Just something to think about in terms of inspiration and how you can impact other people. And then the last thing, just a small little thing that was on the top of my head. I took a photo of it when we were in one of the watch stores in Vegas at near a hotel. It had Arnold's top 6 tips. I don't know if it was from him, but there was a photo of him and it said Arnold, and it said life's 6 rules for success. Trust yourself, break some rules, don't be afraid to fail, ignore the naysayers, work hard, and give something back. And if you want to check out those 6 awesome tips, you can also check out down below in our description. We always have tons of notes, and some might apply to you more than others. You might think, no, I'm going to follow every rule, and that's totally okay. But I found it was so applicable, because when I think of each one, I'm like each one means something different. So those 6 things to me means a lot. It's great inspiration, and it can help you achieve whatever it is that you want to. And hey, if Arnold said it, then it's got to mean something. So that's my last thought for this amazing, beautiful Monday.
110%. And my other thought is just get out there. I've said it before, and barbecue more. I got some pre-made chicken skewers. They were delicious. They're incredible macros. So many people just associate barbecuing with like the greasiest hot dog and hamburger you can get, but you can just do crazy things so conveniently in the fresh air on the barbecue. Protein City, it's the best hack. You can do your vegetables right there as well. You can do zucchini, you can do all these fun things, your peppers, your onions, and it's just an amazing tool. So this gives you a friendly reminder to use that barbecue a little bit more this summer. But I believe that is all we have for the thoughts for this week. Now we're going to jump into our client shout out.
So this week we have George. He is over 30 pounds down and doing some incredible things with Coach Krista. You can see on the screen here, if you are watching on YouTube, which I highly recommend, you can see his transformation and then also jumping into some of his awesome tips. But above all, I just want to say shout out George. Like anyone who takes action, I'm just so genuinely happy for and impressed. Like when I see someone put in work, put their money where their mouth is, like show up no matter what, whether you do 3 workouts a week or 5, or like whether you hit perfect macros or like almost perfect. The fact that you show up for yourself, like you have my ultimate respect. Like I love when I see people tagging us, whether it's like fit couples, fit parents, like no matter what, whoever you are, if you put in work, you're a boss. You like total respect. And one of his favorite tips, like a lot of it was due to nutrition. He said meal prepping, obviously take some guesswork out of the process, pre-logging your meals, which is one of our favorite things to say. But even number 3 tip really, really stood out to me. Once again, you can see the video as well if you swipe through the photos, his video testimonial. He said, get a coach. Every time I lost weight, I gained it back. Getting a coach actually teaches you everything you need to know to make it permanent. 100% one of the best things to do. And that alone says it all. Like, I just want to say, great job again, George. We're so excited to also open up a few spots to help some of you people. All you have to do is send us a message with the keyword dadbod to our Instagram. We'll know exactly what that means, where you're coming from. We'll give you a special discounted rate, but above all, we'll get you guaranteed results, and we only do have limited spots available. So I highly recommend sending that message as soon as you hear this, pausing it for a second, hit us up on Instagram. We'll have a conversation, and we will always take care of you every step of the way.
And stop letting that one day, someday be far off in the distance. Make it today. I want to challenge you to see that progress, because as I mentioned, when you listen to this episode 90 days from now, you could end up the same, or even worse, you could end up worse off. But instead, we want you to take advantage of this, have a coach, have someone to see around corners to help you realize your full potential, see those results faster over these next 90 days. And this is your chance. As long as you're serious about seeing that change, we can guarantee your success, and we will get you to new levels with 3 to 5 times faster results than you're currently getting. So once again, if you want to take advantage of that, message us dadbod. And you might be wondering, why dadbod? What in the world? And I think that is a great segue into our first question, which is any tips on how to get rid of the dad bod look? I don't even have a kid, and I have the look of that typical dad bod. I find it could be because I drink a lot, and I have tried to make an effort to cut that out now, but I notice my muscle to fat distribution is bad, and I'm sick of it. Please help.
So this is a really good question. And like, the truth is, I mean, there's a number of different things that we can suggest, but honestly, helping people do a body recomp where you actually build muscle and lose fat is essentially one of the greatest things, right? So once you start keeping a log of your accurate calories, essentially keep track of that, as well as do the right strength training program combined with a little bit of cardio. You don't have to be doing hours and hours of cardio. Those 3 things alone will make such a big difference. And I'd say a lot of people don't realize, but like, let's say you do have a dad bod where you feel like your stomach's hanging out quite a bit, you don't have as much muscle mass, and you're not feeling your best. Like, if you just focus on one thing, like let's just say eating better, I don't think that necessarily is going to solve everything. Whereas when you have that combined with strength training, once again, doing a body recomp, that will make such a big difference, because you're going to start to see your muscle mass increasing. You'll start to see your fat intake, or just your fat going down, especially from that stomach area. And that alone comes together. But I will say, like, definitely, I know obviously cutting out the drinking is like a big difference. I know, you always hear the term beer belly, beer gut, all that other stuff. A lot of it does come from just excessive alcohol consumption. And I know for some people it might be hard to change those habits, especially if you've been doing it for quite a while. But if you start to make these little changes, and truth be told, like, that's what we do with our coaching, is we start to take a look. And like Josh was saying for his quote, it's great to have those huge ambitions, but you need to start with one thing at a time. And as one of our clients, we start to take a 360 look, and we say, okay, we can't do everything at once. We can't just say 0 drinks, tons of cardio, increase your protein to 200, and then go to the gym 6 times a week. Like, we need to start to increase things slowly. And that's why we find that most people have the best success from this actual coaching journey, because you're not just guessing. You're not just kind of saying, oh, well, I'm going to try everything, because most people that we talk to will try something, and then 2 weeks later, they haven't done anything. And I can think of a lot of people on the top of my head like that. So moral of the story is, hopefully that helps. I'm sure Josh has a bunch of different tips as well, but that's really what I'm passionate about right now for this topic.
Yeah, what's hard is like defining the dad bod. Like, there's a lot of videos out there of like, it'll be guys asking girls, okay, what's like the perfect build that you kind of like? And like, oh, we're fine with like whatever, just like a little bit of muscular, who doesn't look too obsessed with himself. And then I'll show like a photo of Chris Benstead, who is like Mr. Olympia for physique for men's. And they'll be like, yeah, that's about good. And you're like, what the heck? What's the standard I need to go for here? But yeah, if you classify yourself in this position where you feel like you have a little bit of strength, a good frame, but just too much of a stomach, best thing you can do is just start to lose fat, start training hard, start adding a little bit of muscle, and beginning to see that change. And just really going through those tips Kyle highlighted there is going to be so essential. And same thing, if you have a big goal and you really want to totally rework your physique and see that progress, it just starts with starting small, making those changes. And those little changes will make all the difference. So here, the individual has been cutting out the beer, which has been absolutely great. But also you can push that further by making sure to be more dedicated with your workout plan, being on a custom plan, hiring a coach. That step alone, by hiring a coach, you're taking care of every other step because you're getting your nutrition cared for, your planning, your accountability, your insurance that you're doing the right thing and not overthinking or doing something that will push you back or that's unrealistic. You're getting that whole journey covered for you, and your coach can see around corners. So stop letting this be something you put off. Invest in yourself, see that change. And it's just sad to see more people, like even a fitness influencer himself who was abusing steroids and just taking advantage of that. He died at 30 years old, which is so sad. And for me, like, fitness and health has always been a reminder that for me to be able to be my best self the longest, to have my energy, to have my strength, to have my ability. And even me now, as I'm nearing 30, I've got a couple of years to go still at 27, but I'm noticing people start to have these knee pains, to start getting different things popping up, just seeing their health start to take a little bit of a hit. And if right now you're not where you want to be, unfortunately, it doesn't get better. Like, there's a clock from the day we're born, and unfortunately, as you get older, you start to see things regress and go against it. But you can do the opposite by making sure you're investing in your health. Me and Kyle can say we've never been healthier. We've never been in a better spot. We're loving life, making the most of it. And I want to continue to operate at this potential. So if your physique is at this position that you deem that isn't healthy, it isn't a good place, you don't feel strong, you feel uncomfortable, this is your chance, and you deserve this, and have this catalyst so you can learn what to do for the rest of your life to go in the right direction as opposed to wrong. So no matter your situation, message us at DadBod to get a special deal, because we want to help people see change, and we really want to get this going and make sure that you can get the physique of your dreams, because you deserve it in terms of energy, aesthetics, just happiness, being pain-free. All these things come as a byproduct of it, and that's where you should be investing your time. So once again, you can message us DadBod on Instagram to @ColossusFit, ColossusFit. Now into the second question. I've heard a lot about only being able to absorb a certain amount of protein in a meal, like 30 grams or so. Is that true or false?
So this is a good question. And honestly, I thought the myth was busted a while ago, but it does still seem to be going around because we get asked it quite often. I see others being asked it as well, other fitness coaches. And, long story short it was a myth before where people would say that once you hit a certain threshold at a meal, it just gets to, what's the term? Like you pee it out essentially. Like it doesn't get utilized, and it has been proven that this definitely isn't true. So you can sit there and sometimes my lunch will be 60 grams or whatever, but that doesn't mean that I'm not using any of it. It's a complete waste. And I don't know why a lot of people used to think that. I think it just used to be the concept of like there being a certain muscle protein synthesis limit. And that's, once again, been disproven. But I will say when it comes down to the limit and stuff like that of like how much protein within each meal, there definitely are benefits to think about in terms of just distributing it differently. I think sometimes people, especially when it comes to fasting, it does get very challenging because sometimes people will fast for, let's say, 18 hours. They'll have a certain amount of a certain window, let's say 6 hours, 8 hours, and then they're left with so much protein to just try to digest and just to integrate into their diet. And it can be very challenging to do that. So it has been proven just to be honestly a lot easier to spread it out throughout the day. And one of the greatest tips that you can just think about within each meal you have is, where's my protein source coming from? Like even if we're out traveling and we're, let's say, in Vegas or whatever the situation is, I'm thinking, okay, what's the protein here? Like, am I getting 30 grams, 40 grams? Like that's like the main thing I'm looking at. And if you can look at that on top of the overall total calorie intake, you'll definitely be able to just, it's easier to hit. Like there's nothing worse than 7 p.m. coming and looking at your macros and calories and being like, holy, like I've only had 30 grams of protein. So start your day with some, think of it from each meal. Don't worry, if you go overboard as well, like it doesn't have to be 25 grams, 25 grams, 25, 25. Like you can spread it out for what works best for you, but it's always best to just distribute it and spread it out throughout the day just for sustainability side of things. So that's my long answer there. And hopefully that helps you in some way or another.
Yeah, there's a quote. I think it's perfection is the enemy of good, or good is the, I might have it backwards, but to me, like if you try to be so perfect in these small little things, you'll overlook the themes, which are to eat more protein. And as long as you're hitting your total daily amount of protein, chances are, like for me, I'm eating about 210 grams a day. I'm not going to be able to do that in one meal. I'd get sick. It wouldn't feel good. So I'm going to self-regulate anyways, and I'll eat when I eat. I'll get the protein when I get, and I'm not getting that amount in every day. I'd take that all day, every day over someone who can only do it at the right windows. And if they miss it, they're not getting their protein. And some days they're having 25 grams. Some days they're having 210 perfectly distributed. We've spoken before about the food hierarchy and the pyramid of what's important with food, like just in terms of compositional change. And meal timing is so low. Number one is calories. Number two is protein. Then you have carbs and fats. Then you have things like fiber. And then I would say meal timing. It's such a small little variable that isn't going to cause crazy leaps in your progress. And people get so caught up on this because someone will say it. It'll scare them. Even the protein window, that was a big thing, that you needed to have protein right after. All the gym bros would carry around their big 5-pound tub in their gym bag, and it'd be like a crown on your head saying, I take this seriously. Because people would think they need to get that protein to their muscle as soon as possible because of the anabolic window. But this has been shown even to be greatly exaggerated. It's like 8 hours. Within 8 hours, if you have it, you're totally fine. So don't overlook these small things and really neglect the big themes of the journey. So that's something I really want to leave with. And I think Kyle answered this incredibly well. So that's all I have to say there.
Yeah, honestly, nothing else, but it was a very good question and some great answers there.
And we love great questions. So even, hey, if you want to respond to that thread about today's episode, we'll actually just say the name of the episode. We'll put our quotes for the episode and the client shout out. And then down below, if you have questions, shoot them there. We'd love to get some questions right on that thread. I think this is a really cool opportunity for us to have a way for people to engage a little bit easier with each episode. So if you're down for that, make sure to follow us there because it'll be a lot of fun. And we're giving away a $50 Starbucks gift card to one commenter. So once again, our Instagram is at ColossusFit, ColossusFit, and Threads is tied to that. So you can find us there nice and easy, and you will be good to go. And last but not least, I've been listening for 2 months now. Thanks for all that you do. I was wondering what your current supplement stack is. I haven't heard you talk much about them. So I'll go ahead and kick this off with mine. I keep it super simple. I haven't even used protein powder, I realized, because someone asked me about it today. I haven't used protein powder in like a month. I have no problem with protein powder. I've just got a really good flow with food. And Greek yogurt, I've been kind of jacking my morning protein amount. I've been getting a lot in with my Greek yogurt. Like I'll do a non-fat plain Greek yogurt. So I get a really good source of that. I get about 35 grams. Then I'll have a high protein granola, which only gives me about 7 or 8. And then I'll do some hemp, some chia, some fruits. And I'm starting my day pretty good, about near 50, 55. And then I'll do a lot of chicken for lunch. And then for dinner, I've been enjoying just doing like a plain leaner meat with a lot of vegetables. Like I haven't even really been doing as much of a carb source, and either I'll do a carb source as kind of like my dessert, or I'll actually have like a dessert. I don't have dessert too often, but it's nice to have that option. And I personally felt really good with a lighter dinner, super heavy lunch, consistent breakfast, and then sometimes I'll do a snack. I guess the closest thing to my protein powder would be my Quest chips that I go ahead and use. So that's why I haven't done it. I have no problem with protein powder. It's an amazing tool. Just when you've been doing it for 10 years, sometimes you get a little tired of it. So I've been enjoying trying to find different challenges to get a good array of food sources. But protein is something I do own and something I will have if need be. And I love it in an emergency situation. Past that, I take creatine every day. And then I'll take pre-workout for 4 of my 5 workouts in the week. I've been trying to limit that a little bit more, and I've actually been having a lot less of it. I only do about 150 milligrams per workout. Sometimes I'll do a big scoop and kind of creep my way to 200. And that's just because I really do like coffee. I've been liking having 2 coffees in the morning and less pre, as opposed to 1 coffee and more pre. And this is where each person needs to experiment and play and see where they feel best. But this is where I've personally chosen to be. And I actually do take amino acids now. I mix it in with my pre-workout, not really for any benefit. I just like the way it tastes, and it's peach, and it kind of makes this cool cocktail of a drink that I've been enjoying. And then on the non-pre-workout days, I'll bring my amino acids because it feels like I should be having pre, and it kind of tricks my brain to being like, you should be fired up, you should crush this workout. And I also really like the amino acids for at night. Watching TV, I'm like, oh, I want to eat something or drink something tasty. I'll go do 2 scoops of amino acids. feels pretty good, and ice water. And I found that to be a really good, nice summery drink. I mean, really holding back from buying diet drinks and Gatorades and things like that, just because they're almost too accessible for me. And I like amino acids because I have to go there, I have to put them in the shaker, I have to put in ice. Whereas those other things, I can grab them so easy and I'll just crush them and have them too often. And I find they're getting a little expensive now. So that's kind of where I've been. Amino acids aren't cheap either, don't get me wrong. But that is what I personally use. I think in terms of best supplements, it's pretty much in and around there. Every person's different. Like there's different things you can use. Like you could have just citrulline malate if you want to get really good pumps in the gym. You could just supplement beta alanine, which is that stuff that makes you feel itchy, if you want that without the stim of caffeine. Like there are a lot more nuances to supplements, and we've done more episodes in the past. And we actually have a top 5 episode that's really good, research, science-based. And you can go ahead and check that out. But more than anything, good training, good food, good recovery, that will kill any supplement in the game. But creatine is a really good one that I like supplementing. But that's for me. I'm sure Kyle's similar, but we'll pass it over to him.
Yeah, and there's a reason why we haven't talked about it a ton. Like it's funny because a lot of times people think that that's the first thing that should be talked about, and they are highly misguided. But we do get quite a few questions. Someone will say, hey, what about multivitamins? It's like, you want to see a photo of my lunch, like what we just had? The amount of servings of veggies and protein from chicken, obviously protein from that, and just everything like that. I'm like, all you need to do is look at that. And even just like, some people have fish oils. I'll have fish once per week. Like there's like a lot of things to consider. Even I'll have a little bit of vitamin D, but obviously it's summer now, get a lot from there, but I'll have like a tiny bit. But more or less, I'm very similar to Josh minus the BCAAs. Like I do have creatine once a day. 5 grams, no need to load it. Protein, I really like as like a last case scenario. I'm on the go. I need a scoop. Like this morning actually was the one time I had it in like a while. I just didn't plan as well. And I wanted to get my protein before I left for the gym because I knew that if I didn't have it, I would have just not been hitting my protein for the day, or it'd be a lot harder because I'd be cramming it in. And so it was nice to have that just there. But once again, it's not something I have consistently. But if I do have a smoothie, it's awesome to have. Like very rarely do I have one. I've just been really liking the Greek yogurt. And similar to what Josh said, like honestly, healthy food, like when you look at it, it provides so many nutrients and just so many just amazing things that like you shouldn't really need to be substituting. Like some people will say, hey, I want to try a fiber supplement. It's like you can get a lot of that from food. Like there's so many amazing things to look at in terms of just like not needing as many supplements. Like it definitely is nice to feel like you don't like need, like back when I first started my fitness journey, I felt like I needed everything. Like it made me just feel amazing, especially probably placebo wise, but I'm like, I'm taking this, I'm doing these things. I've got this animal pack of multivitamins. Like you take all these pills and you're like, oh yeah, I'm crushing it. But honestly, just having a nice sustainable diet, it's super simple. You don't need to be tossing in a bunch of stuff. And yeah, that's just where I'm at. But like Josh said, creatine, protein very rarely. And then I do have the vitamin B12 and vitamin D. And that's really all I'm at, as well as obviously pre-workout. But if I don't have that, I'll have coffee and, bada boom, bada bing. So that's my answer for that one.
Yeah, non-summer, I actually take vitamin D. I forgot about that. And I went to bring it to Florida, and then Kyle's like, you realize you don't need that, right? Because you're going to be getting so much sun. I'm like, oh, true. So even now in the summer, I don't take vitamin D either, but I do supplement that like crazy, especially when it's cold and dark and I'm not getting access to sun like I'd like. There's a lot of benefit there for energy and just happiness in general. Past that, B12 I'll take here and there. Like I'm kind of torn on that one. I have it, so I take it. And then the other thing I actually do take, and I actually am really big on, is ashwagandha. So there's been some good science there to show that is a really good natural way to give a little bit of a boost of testosterone to help alleviate stress. It seems like it's got some exciting science behind it, so I actually do take that daily, and I found really good results from that myself. So once again, too, if you want to learn more about supplements, there's a really good website, examine.com, and they do all science-based breakdowns of it, completely unbiased, and I find you can get really, really good content there. But don't be that silly person who goes to the supplement store, buys everything ever. Mass gainer, I want mass. Ooh, lean pills. This is going to make me lean with mass. And then you go get some super hydrating formula special water for $10. That's the same as other water. And like spend all this money and see no change. Instead, like invest in coaching, invest in what will work. We guarantee it works for a reason. You'll see better results. You'll be in the right path. You'll learn these tools for the rest of your life. So really focus on what's important. That's the big thing. And that's my component too with the dream big, think big, start small. actually make sure you're starting with what's going to work. Don't make that mistake. I know so many people that bought a ton of supplements they're never going to use. They're going to get them nowhere, and they've ended up being discouraged because they feel like they've wasted money and not seen progress. Instead, invest in something that will work. Having a personal one-on-one coach and a very, just most importantly, personalized, done for you approach where we can help you break through any obstacle that's in your way to see the success you deserve. So once again, to take advantage of that, you can message us dadbon on Instagram to @ColossusFit, ColossusFit, and we will take care of you. Now, thank you so much everyone for listening, and make sure to comment down on Threads. Hit us with a follow there, comment on the thread of this episode, and you will be entered to win a $50 Starbucks gift card. So thanks again everyone for tuning in. Have a great day and peace out.